21-year-old woman who has come to us today, and she has got phenotypically all the features of a webbed neck as well as carrying angle increase. She has short stature. Her elder sister is with her. She is quite tall, and she was complaining of shortness of breath and pedal edema. She has got pedal edema. I can show that here, but without. You see? Pedal edema with shortness of breath, and recently, that's in 29th May, she came with that. So we are wondering what is the reason. So she had shortness of breath as well. So why did she have shortness of breath? And obviously the phenotypic characteristics are those of Turner syndrome. So why do Turner syndrome have shortness of breath? And we got an X-ray done, that's also showing features of pulmonary edema, in fact, bilateral. And the main pulmonary artery is dilated. What? This one? This?
Below, sir.
This one? This one? This is the dorsal aorta. Okay, so now you see the echo as to why she has features of heart failure. So she's got this left ventricular hypertrophy here in the parasternal long axis, and this is the LA, which is also kind of dilated, which suggests that there could be a increased LVEDP in relation to the aorta, which is not as dilated as the LA, and the LVH is also striking. So if at all we do not find anything else, we will put it to HFpEF, the heart failure. But the right ventricle is also not looking normal. In fact, if you look at the contractility of the right ventricle, anterior wall, that doesn't seem to be as good, isn't it? So there's some right ventricular dysfunction as well, and possibly a left ventricular dysfunction, possibly diastolic, and that is leading to the increased LVEDP and LA dilatation. Now let's go short axis. Now if you see the short axis, this LV is much smaller than the RV, which is quite dilated. And see the RV, the trabecular cornea in the RV, and there will be a moderator band here. So yeah, the RV is dominant. So why is she having a dominant RV? And this is probably a congenital problem. She is having it since childhood. It's a genetic syndrome, isn't it? So why is she having a dominant RV? Is the question here. So let's go a little bit higher up and see her aorta. Here's the aorta, and here's the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery. This is the pulmonary artery, and it's pulsating, and these are the right and left branches. And we are not able to. And it's a dilated pulmonary artery as well. And we are not able to see anything more than that here. So put some color here, maybe even see the forward flow of the pulmonary artery, which looks normal. Now let's go back to her apical four-chamber view. This is the apical four-chamber view, and we have checked her aortic valve and all. This is the tricuspid regurgitation. This is the tricuspid valve. And where is it? And we tried to get a TR here. Probably it was better earlier, and now it's not showing so much of a TR or here. So here it is. Yeah, that's the TR. So we calculated it's coming to around PA pressure of 46. Okay, now let's see one thing which we noticed in the parasternal long axis itself. See this? Here, this gap. Let's take a good look at it. We are a bit doubtful about this gap which is showing up here, and apparently on putting the color there seems to be some sort of a shunt, although it is overlapping. When you put the Doppler, it's overlapping with the aortic forward flow. Okay, so this is it. This is it, and seems to be overlapping with the aortic forward flow. So yeah, so these are the uncertainties in this. For all practical purposes, we'll have to call it a heart failure with preserved ejection fraction causing pulmonary arterial hypertension. The other thing is idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension, and no gross congenital heart disease as we could see. Okay.